This is Bloomberg Rewind. I'm Matt Miller. I'd love to have you check me out on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @MattMiller1973. So you can find a lot of interesting tidbits. Today I posted a lot of Victoria's Secret models pictures there. Eric Best is also on Twitter. You can follow him @EricBestOnline. And also joining us is a guy who is no stranger to the Twitter sphere. He is known as the Axeman. And here is a direct quote from one of his tweets. Check it out. "Europe is like crack. Dysfunction makes markets interesting." Well, the Axeman, his real name is George Axe, is not your average market commentator. And George joins us now in the studio. So, thank you so much for flying in to spend some time with us. You have a really interesting story because you're a pediatric dentist by trade, but you were sort of forced into the options market right in the midst of the financial crisis. Can you give us a brief synopsis?
Yeah, I was one of these people who made the mistake. It was a good mistake of taking a cold phone call from a young stockbroker about 25 years ago or so. He was just a wonderful guy. He was at the same stage of life that I was at. And he and I were together for about 25 years. He had full discretion over my account. And then he very suddenly passed away. And I was at that stage in life that I really didn't want to start with anybody new.
So you didn't push your account on, give your account to anybody else. Surely people asked you. You decided to start trading for yourself.
Yeah, and I'd always followed all the trades that were made, but I just never micromanaged. I trusted him implicitly, and he was really, truly a wonderful, wonderful guy.
So it was what, 2007, 2008? It was one of the probably most difficult times to pick it up, day trading with all of your money.
Yeah, it was interesting. There were some scary moments, but never show the fear.
Did he leave you an instruction book of anything?
Yeah, he did have rules, but I'll tell you, one rule that I remember is one that I never followed, and it was one from Bernard Baruch. He always said, "Sell when you hit a 10% loss," and I own Green Mountain.
Still?
Yeah, and I will own it tomorrow and the day after. And I've had more than a 10% loss, but with the options that I've sold on it, I probably am looking at about a 3% loss right now.
I was going to say, you're hedged against the loss, and that's what made you so successful initially, right? Because we should point out that you make enough money now trading options and managing your own portfolio that you have quit dentistry, or at least pretty much. I mean, you fill in for other dentists maybe 20, 25 times a year. You've become a professional trader.
Well, I fill in for the fellow who's my illustrator, who also happens to be a pediatric dentist and who someday wants to be a cartoonist along with his daughter. So maybe there's something about pediatric dentists looking to reinvent themselves, even though it's a great profession, at least dealing with kids. But this was the time to reinvent.
So you sell calls on the stocks you own, is that?
Almost every single stock I own. I'm a long-term optimist, but a short-term pessimist.
All right, and your illustrator, I guess, drew the picture of you that we see on your Twitter.
That actually was from a website.
Oh, I see. You've Simpsonized yourself.
Right, absolutely.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. George is going to stay with us, as is Eric. When we come back, we're going to head over to Hong Kong to see how Asia's trading day is shaping up. Right now, I want to talk more about what's going to happen tomorrow. Financial strategist Eric Best is with us, and options trader George Axe. And guys, I mean, we can't overlook the huge drops that we saw today, right? One little event in Italy, you could see it as triggering a jump in yields there and a massive sell-off. George, did you see it coming? I mean, were you prepared?
I think I'm always prepared. Whether it's a high or a low, I think at some point everything tends to revert to the mean, and psychologically you have to revert to the mean as well.
So I wanted to ask you, since the guy didn't leave you an instruction booklet, do you have a theory or an approach that you simply operate by this model every day?
I actually, in my book, I have about 20 different steps that I try to follow very, very rigorously, but I'm a human being, and sometimes I speculate when I know that I should never speculate. I tend to be a very conservative kind of guy, but sometimes you go with a gut feeling that's wrong, like Green Mountain coffee. But I know down the line it will work out.
So what's the worst mistake you've made so far?
Today?
Anytime.
There was a stock, Lazard Ferris. Do you remember that company? That's when I tried buying my own stocks, thinking that I could figure out what was the right company to buy. This was about 20 years ago, and it went belly up. And, well-renowned company, internationally known for a couple of hundred years, disappeared off the face of the earth. That told me I don't know how to pick stocks.
Let me ask you quickly the name of your book. It's self-published, right, and it's on options trading.
It's Option to Profit.
Option to Profit. A couple of authors here. I want to talk